Have you ever looked at a photo and felt like it was quietly studying you in return? Like it could see past the version of yourself you show the world and straight into the parts you keep tucked away? That is what it felt like when I saw your picture. I told myself I was not looking for anything that night. I said I was just passing time, just scrolling, just filling the noise that creeps in when everything else goes still. But if I am honest, my heart had been restless for days, maybe longer, searching for something it could not name. Faces came and went, places blurred together, nothing stayed long enough to matter, then your photo did. My thumb stopped without me deciding to stop it. There was no dramatic moment, no sudden rush of sound, just a quiet pause, the kind that makes you aware of your own breathing. In that small, still space, something inside me shifted, gentle but undeniable. You were not posing. You were not trying to impress anyone. You looked slightly away from the camera, like you did not need its approval, like you were complete on your own. And somehow that simple, unguarded presence reached me more deeply than any perfect smile ever could. It felt real. It felt warm. It felt like the kind of presence you could fall in love with slowly, then all at once. I leaned back and told myself not to read too much into it. I have a habit of building entire stories in my head, of giving meaning where there may be none. I know how that can hurt, but this did not feel like imagination running wild. It felt like recognition, like my heart had just whispered, "There you are, I have been waiting for you." It was not about how you looked, not really. It was the feeling behind your eyes, the quiet strength in your stillness, the softness that did not ask to be noticed yet deserved to be cherished. I did not just see a photo. I felt a pull, tender and steady, like love beginning in its most honest form. Have you ever felt chosen by something you never meant to choose? I kept looking at your photo longer than made sense. I tried to reduce it to logic, lighting, angle, expression, context. I told myself if I could explain it, I could control it. But the feeling refused to shrink into something simple. The more I studied it, the more it felt like I was stepping over a line that would not fade once crossed. Then my phone buzzed. It was my mother. Of course it was. She has this quiet instinct for calling right when my life is about to tilt in a direction I am not ready to admit. I watched her name glow on the screen for a few seconds before answering, already knowing she would hear something in my voice I had not sorted out myself. When I called her back, she asked her usual questions. Had I eaten? Was I sleeping enough? Was I working too hard again? Her voice carried that steady, protective warmth I have known my whole life. The kind of love that tries to keep pain away before it ever arrives. And for a second, I almost told her about you. It startled me. I had not spoken to you. We had not shared a single word. You were just a photograph, just a quiet moment on a screen. Yet something in me understood this was not a small thing. Saying it out loud would make it real. And real feelings come with risk, with change, with the possibility of being hurt in ways no one else can protect you from. She went quiet for a moment, then said gently, "You sound far away. What's on your mind?" I could have told her. Maybe I should have. Instead, I changed the subject. I talked about work, about plans, about things that sounded solid and safe. Anything but the truth that my heartbeat had been moving differently ever since I saw your face. She did not press. She never does. That is her quiet strength. She trusts that time will bring me back with whatever I am not ready to share yet. After we hung up, I opened your photo again, almost carefully, like checking whether a dream still lingers after waking. You were still there, but it felt different now. Heavier, not in a bad way, in a real way, like something that carried meaning. Like something my heart had already started to hold with both hands. And I found myself wondering what my mother would say if she knew that a single image, a single glimpse of someone I have never met had already begun to matter this much to me. I know exactly what my mother would say. The questions, the careful warnings, the fear she tries to hide so it does not become mine. She has seen what love can do when it arrives without knocking. She has watched me walk away from things before they had the chance to break me, and she has always been proud of that. Proud of my caution, proud of my ability to leave before the fall. But this did not feel like something I could step back from. I did not message you. Not yet. I just sat there, phone in my hand, realizing that some moments do not wait for approval. They simply happen. And once they do, they begin quietly rearranging the furniture inside your heart, shifting things you thought were fixed, making space where there was none before. Do you think a single image can change the direction of a life? Nothing dramatic happened that night. No confession, no decision. Just a photo and the quiet understanding that whatever came next, I was already part of it. Have you ever noticed how silence changes when it has a reason to exist? After I saw your picture, silence stopped being empty. It had weight. It followed me from room to room. It sat with me while I worked, lingered while I tried to sleep, hovered behind every small choice, like it was waiting for me to admit something I did not have words for yet. I still did not message you, but I rehearsed it in my mind, again and again. Different openings, different tones, different endings. Every version carried risk. Every version felt like stepping onto thin ice and pretending not to hear the cracks. You became a possibility I could not measure, and that unsettled me. I like certainty. I like knowing where I stand. You were none of that. I told myself I was being unreasonable. You were just a photo, a single frame from a life I knew nothing about. But have you ever tried to talk yourself out of a feeling that had already made a home in your chest? Logic does not stand a chance once the heart decides to stay. I started noticing things. How often I opened the app without meaning to. How my eyes searched for your image before I even realized what I was doing. It felt like instinct, like some quiet part of me had already memorized you. Then came the thoughts I did not expect. I wondered what had happened just before that photo was taken. Who made you look that way? Whether you had been thinking about someone else when the picture was captured. That question hit deeper than it should have. Jealousy is strange like that. It does not ask for evidence. It does not wait its turn. And when you feel it for someone you have never even spoken to, you know you are standing on fragile ground. A few days later, I found myself at my mother's house, sitting across from her at the kitchen table, carrying a feeling I still had not named out loud, but that had already begun to change me in ways I could not undo. She was the one who suggested dinner. She always does when she feels me drifting. Her kitchen carried that familiar scent, warm and steady, like it was built to anchor me back to a version of myself she recognizes. We sat facing each other, plates barely touched, conversation floating on safe, shallow topics. She kept watching me. Mothers have a way of doing that. They do not stare at the problem. They notice the smallest shifts around it. "You are somewhere else tonight," she said gently, placing her fork down, not asking, knowing. I gave her a smile, the polished kind that passes in meetings but falls apart at a kitchen table, just thinking about work. I paused for a beat too long. She shook her head, almost with kindness. "Not work. There is something unsettling about being seen that clearly by someone who loves you. No effort, no prying, just recognition." I almost brushed it off with a joke. Almost. Instead, I felt that tight pull in my chest. The same one that showed up every time I looked at your picture. That quiet tug of interest mixed with caution. And then, before I could stop myself, I said it. I saw someone. Her posture shifted in an instant. Not dramatic, just alert, protective. "Someone," she repeated. "Saw how?" "A photo," I said, keeping my tone light like it meant nothing. "Just a photo." She went quiet. Her eyes searched my face the way they always have, reading what I try to hide. "And that is enough to do this to you?" she asked softly. That was when it hit me how present you already were in my life, how someone I had never met could still reach this deep. "I do not know," I admitted, and telling the truth felt riskier than lying ever could. It just stayed with me. She leaned back, arms folding loosely, her expression thoughtful. "Photos do not stay," she said. "People project. They build stories. They fill in what is not there." "I know," I said. "That is what scares me." She let out a slow breath, heavy with old memories. "You have always fallen for what could be," she said quietly, "not what is. And possibilities do not promise anything." There it was, not criticism, care, a warning shaped by years of watching me reach for things that never quite landed. She was trying to protect me, maybe from you, maybe from my own hope. I wanted to explain that this felt different, deeper, more real. But how do you defend a feeling that has never had a chance to exist in the real world? How do you explain a connection that lives only in the space between imagination and truth? Later that night, alone in my room, I opened our message window. My hands hovered above the screen, my heart calm but full, my thoughts racing. This was not reckless. This was chosen. A quiet decision to move one step closer to something unknown, something that already felt strangely important. I typed a sentence, deleted it, tried again. Because whatever this was, I did not want to start it carelessly. I wanted my first words to carry the same softness I already felt when I thought of you. Every word felt like a promise. Every pause felt like a step back. Before I could think myself out of it, I sent a message. Simple, honest, no polishing, no performance. Then I waited. Waiting stretches time in strange ways. Seconds grow long. Thoughts get loud. Doubt finds a microphone. I could almost hear my mother's voice in my head, asking if I had just handed my heart to an illusion. Then your reply came. Short, unexpected, warm. And just like that, the silence that had been pressing on me softened, shifted, breathed. Do you remember the moment someone stopped being an idea and became real to you? That was it for me. The instant you stopped being a picture on a screen and became a risk I was no longer pretending I could avoid. It's funny how you know you're in trouble not when things fall apart, but when they fall into place a little too easily. Your messages did not crash into my life. They arrived quietly, thoughtfully, no show, no rush. Somehow that made them impossible to ignore. I would read your words once, then again, not because they were complicated, but because they were careful, intentional, like you understood what it meant to be invited into someone's inner world. Talking to you did not drain me. That alone should have been a warning. Hours could pass, and I would still feel like I had just sat down. We moved from big ideas to small memories to ridiculous side notes and then into sudden honesty without ever stumbling. Do you know how rare it is to feel understood without having to explain every layer of yourself first? I started shifting things. Nothing dramatic. A rescheduled call, a delayed errand. Quiet space made for you without ever announcing it out loud. That's how it happens, isn't it? Love does not knock on the door. It rearranges the furniture when you are not looking. One evening, my mother called again. Her timing, as always, was perfect. I picked up already knowing she would hear it in my voice. "You're smiling," she said before I even spoke. I did not deny it, so she went on carefully. "The photo has a voice now." "Yeah," I said softly. "And she's real." She was quiet for a moment. I could almost hear her thinking, measuring risk against hope, remembering older versions of me. "Real can hurt more than imagined," she said. "I know," I told her. "But imagined hurts too. Just slower." That earned a long pause, then a gentler question. "Tell me who you are when you talk to her. Not who you think she is. Who you are." I had not expected that, and the answer came before I could filter it. With her, I'm not performing. I'm not trying to impress or stay guarded. I'm just there. Maybe a little exposed, but calm, curious, like I want to understand instead of prove something. She let out a breath, not relief, something closer to acceptance. "That's the part that changes you," she said quietly. "When someone slips past the walls you built for a reason." She was right. Even before we met, you were already reshaping me, softening places I had hardened on purpose, shifting what mattered without asking permission. Eventually, we agreed to meet, somewhere neutral, public, sensible, all the rules people pretend can protect their hearts. I got there early, of course I did. I always do when something matters more than I want to admit. And then you walked in. Reality has a habit of correcting fantasy. Sometimes it shrinks it, sometimes it breaks it. With you, it did something else. It aligned. The way you stepped inside, scanning the room for a familiar stranger. The way your eyes landed on me and softened in recognition, like you had already known me longer than made sense. In that moment, every version of you I had imagined stepped quietly aside, and the real you took their place. And somehow, that was the most beautiful surprise of all. There was a tiny pause before you smiled, not staged, not polite. It felt like relief finding its way to the surface. I stood up, and for a split second, every clever thing I had ever said to you disappeared. All that composure, all that careful thinking, gone. Reduced to one simple, undeniable fact. You were real. You were right in front of me. Do you remember the first time someone looked at you like they already knew you? Like recognition came before introduction? That was in your eyes when they met mine. We talked easily, almost too easily, but beneath the words was a quiet awareness, a shared understanding that this was not just coffee, not just conversation. Something mattered here. At one point, we both reached for our glasses at the same time, our fingers brushed, just barely. People like to call that electricity, but that word feels loud, exaggerated. This was softer, deeper, more like something settling into place than something exploding. Later that night, my mother called. She only asked one thing. Did you feel safe? I really thought about it. About how you listened without interrupting. How you did not rush my pauses. How sitting across from you did not feel like losing control, but like choosing to lower my guard. Yes, I said. Her voice gentled. That's the part that's dangerous. I knew what she meant. Safety is not neutral. It invites closeness, and closeness always carries the possibility of loss. I did not know how it would happen. I just felt a shift coming, the way you can sense a storm long before the clouds gather. Tiny changes, small misread moments, distance dressed up as patience. Love had already stepped inside. Neither of us had really prepared for what it might eventually ask from us. Have you ever felt something loosening before it actually slips from your hands? That is how it began with us. Not a fight, not a betrayal, just a subtle drop in warmth. Replies that took a little longer, laughter that arrived a beat too late, space that called itself temporary while quietly expanding. I noticed before you said anything, I usually do. I just did not want my instincts to be right. You told me you were tired, busy, processing things, all reasonable, maybe all true, but there was something underneath your words, a new hesitation that had never been there before, and that hesitation lodged itself exactly where my certainty used to be. There is a particular kind of fear that comes when the person who made you feel safe becomes the one you start bracing yourself for. Every notification carried hope and caution in equal measure. I tried not to push. I told myself that care sometimes looks like space, that not every silence means retreat. So I stepped back gently, the way you give something fragile room to steady itself, hoping we would find our rhythm again without forcing it. But part of me already knew. Sometimes distance does not arrive to be fixed. It arrives to be felt. I kept telling myself this was natural, that strong feelings sometimes need space, that stepping back did not always mean stepping away. But love does not fade all at once. It thins out, quietly, and you feel the hunger long before you admit something is missing. My mother noticed before I said a word. "You're quieter lately," she said one evening, pouring tea with that calm, unhurried care she uses when she wants honesty to arrive on its own. That usually means you're holding something together by yourself. I stayed silent. I did not have the energy to pretend. "She's pulling away," she said gently, not asking, knowing. "Isn't she?" I nodded. She sat across from me, her expression softer than I expected. No lecture this time, no warnings, just recognition. "Sometimes love doesn't end because it wasn't real," she said. "Sometimes it ends because it was." That sentence settled deep. When you finally said it out loud, when you admitted you were scared, it did not feel like rejection. It felt like truth. You talked about timing, about pressure, about not wanting to hurt me. The strange part was, I believed you. "What would you do," I asked, "if fear wasn't in the room with us?" You did not answer right away. You did not need to. We did not fall apart in some dramatic scene. No anger, no blame. Just a quiet understanding that something beautiful had reached a place where holding tighter might break it in ways we could not repair. Do you know how much strength it takes to let go like that? Not because the feeling disappeared, but because it didn't. Afterward, the absence was overwhelming, louder than the silence before I met you. Because now the quiet had shape, memory, specific moments that echoed in ordinary places, Every street, every song, every pause in my day seemed to carry a version of me that had only existed when you were close. One night I opened your photo again. The same one. The beginning. And I understood something I had missed before. The photo did not change my life. What it uncovered did. It showed me that I was still capable of feeling that deeply. That I could still open, still soften, still risk being moved by someone's presence, even from a distance. All my defenses, all my careful logic, all the space I had built around myself, and still, one image was enough to put a crack in the wall, not because of fantasy, but because of the part of me that was still brave enough to hope. That night, my mother found me staring at my phone. She didn't ask what I was looking at. "You loved her," she said simply. "Yes," and it hurt. She nodded, and that was enough. No lecture, no warning, just acknowledgement. It mattered. I don't know where you are now. I don't know if you ever look back at that moment the way I do, but I know this. You weren't a detour. You were a confirmation. And sometimes that is more dangerous than heartbreak. Because once you know what's possible, you can't unknow it. Tell me, if you were me, would you regret seeing that photo? Have you ever imagined who you might have been if a single moment had never happened? I think about it sometimes. The version of me who didn't pause, who kept scrolling, who stayed safely inside the world he understood. That version of me slept better, planned cleaner, explained himself with confidence. He didn't ask dangerous questions late at night, but he also never met you. And that's what changes everything. If I had never seen that photo, my life would have remained efficient, predictable, polished. I would have convinced myself that some things are better left imagined than lived. I would have believed that distance is wisdom and control is safety. And maybe I would have been right, but I would have been smaller. You didn't stay. You didn't promise forever. You didn't even ask for much. You simply existed long enough to prove that I was still capable of being shaken. That I could still be wrong-footed by feeling, still care without a strategy. Do you know how rare that is? People talk about heartbreak like it's a failure, like something broke that was meant to last. But that isn't always true. Sometimes heartbreak is just proof that something reached you, deeply, enough to leave a mark. My mother understood that before I did. Weeks later, she said something I didn't expect. "I'm glad you met her." I looked at her, surprised. "You warned me," she said. "That's my job." Then she smiled, just a little. And I saw it too, you coming alive. And that's when it clicked. Protection isn't about shielding someone from pain. It's about making sure pain doesn't convince you to stop living. You didn't ruin me. You reminded me. I still don't know where you are. Maybe you're happy. Maybe you're still searching. Maybe something reminds you of me sometimes. Or maybe I was just a chapter you closed without rereading. Either way, one thing is certain. The moment I saw your photo, my life changed. Not because it promised forever, but because it reminded me I was still capable of opening myself to it. And if I'm honest, I'd choose that moment again, even knowing the cost. So, let me ask you, has there ever been a moment like that in your life? A glance? A message? A face that shifted something inside you permanently? If it has, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If this story felt familiar, if it touched something in you, pause. Stay with that feeling. And if you want to hear more stories like this, about connection, risk, and the moments that quietly change us, show it some love. Like the video, subscribe, share it with someone who understands what it means to be transformed by a single moment. Because sometimes, all it takes is one. If you want to hear more stories like this, show it some love, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it.